When ashes dropping down, we step aside. I'll run away with you to see some light. When ashes dropping down, we step aside. Smoke is scanning to the sky. You can't believe your senses. You think you've seen it all until you open your eyes. I never wanna be alone. This place is cursed. I want you to never leave my side. I run away with you to see some light. When ashes dropping down, we step aside. We dream of feeling something. I want you. I know we both escape to lose the ground. The world we used to know is burning down. We're always strong enough to build our own. We've been running for ages to search some light. I want you. I know we both escape to lose the ground. We've been running for ages to search some light. We can feel every day after running for nights. We feel so I run away with you to see some light. When ashes dropping down, we step aside. I run away with you to see some light. When ashes dropping down, to build our own.
The look on your face, there's no other place it could be found. It stays with me for days, and it lifts my feet up from the ground. I can see it in your eyes. You're a secret in disguise. Heavy as the sunrise, we share the moon with day and night. You can be the only one to hold the There's nothing in your
Welcome back. It's season 7, week 1 for the Platinum League. I am Traxon. Joining me this evening is none other than the Bully and Fury. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
Pretty
Tired.
solid. It's always hectic at the beginning of the season with a bunch of teams,
True.
asking people to finish their player registration, finish their games, but
Yep,
so we don't have to tell them that they're ineligible for season. They wonder why. So yeah,
that's always my favorite. I have 28 games. Can I have a 2 game exception? No, stop, please. Why
it's
you like this?
just play those 2 games.
Yeah. All right. Well, without further ado, we got about 30 minutes to crank this out. So let's bring up the prediction sheet as we head into week 1. So, as everyone knows, it's 2 groups in the Platinum League this season. And let's start talking about the games. So, to kind of go down, starting at the top, it is Raw's predictions, Eternal Cries, second, Fury, the Bully, and you all have had a voice this season in Otter Talk, and you have voted, and your votes are at the bottom. So, starting off, Blue Esports Fire taking on Cloud Team. In week 1 in the Infernal Division, Raw has selected Blue Esports Fire, while Eternal Cries, Fury, and the Bully have all selected Cloud Team. Obviously, right now, Raw and Eternal Cries aren't here as they're getting ready to cast, but we figured we get their predictions in as well, and they can talk about them later if they wish. But starting off, Fury, you selected Cloud Team.
hmm
Tell me why.
I literally only chose it because Blue Esports Fire didn't even have a support listed on their OPGG as of last night, until today.
Okay.
So I chose Cloud Team because they had an actual team roster. I don't know anything about these teams, and that's the only reason why I chose Cloud Team over Blue Esports.
All right, Bully, you also went with Cloud Team. Why?
So yeah, the reason for the support is because we had to unfortunately had to remove the support.
Mhm.
So they had to have a last minute support add onto the roster, so it can heavily change the team dynamic, synergy, and things like that. Cloud Team, I know they have been trying to look for leagues as a group for I don't know at least a month now. So I know they
Mhm.
have the synergy built up, getting ready, and their average on paper, their rank average is a lot better than the Blue Esports Fire. Of course, who knows? Maybe Blue Esports Fire just are amazing as a team and will take over Cloud Team. But especially in week 1, there's a lot of uncertainty and variables that we can't account for. And my best guess is Cloud Team, but who knows? It could be Blue Esports taking them down 2 games in 20 minutes.
Yeah, and the community has voted on Blue Esports Fire over Cloud Team. So Raw and the community, are they smarter than Eternal Cries and our analysts Fury and Bully, who have been around for so long? We'll find out in
Oh,
later tonight.
just a little asterisk marks with the community vote, especially since it was like a very short turnaround of how many
Mhm.
days it was to actually vote. Since we had, basically a day for you to actually vote on the community polls for this week, there's not many votes. So literally if a whole team voted, they could have swayed the entire vote.
Mm. Well,
Um Yeah, I think it
fair.
was like 11 or 12 votes total. So, definitely for future
Okay.
weeks, it'll be more accurate, but definitely this one could have been like, I'm part of Blue Esports. I'm going to tell my team to vote for Blue Esports, and then Blue Esports is going to
True.
win. Same thing with
I
Cloud
mean,
Game Team.
they
So,
believe it. They believe in themselves. Good for them.
mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope
Next,
so.
yeah. Next game we're going to talk about. It is Collective Sigma up against ISU G&E Emerald. Raw has selected ISU Genie Emerald, as well as Fury and the community. So it's a 3-2 split. Meanwhile, Eternal Cries has selected Collective Sigma, as well as the Bully. So we're going to let Fury start this one off. ISU Genie Emerald, why?
Honestly, if I'm being genuine, I was going by win rates on the
Okay.
players.
Okay.
Most of these teams I don't know. Obviously, I'm casting gold this split, so I didn't get to do a whole lot of research on the platinum teams other than what I did last night with a quick run through of the multi GGs, and just they were just looking better overall as far as ranks and win loss rates. I don't know them as a full team. Obviously, it's a big difference compared to your solo duo ranks, but that's just what my vote was based on.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So Fury saying individual players going to win out in this series. You obviously disagree with something that he said there, Bully. So go ahead and walk me through why you went with your selection.
I think in this case, the individual, like, yes, right now the individual win rate for the ISU Genie Emerald is higher than collective, but the only problem with like I guess that reasoning is I don't know how long, especially since it's the ISU team that they've been playing together. There's a lot of people that can be in and out. They graduate, they new players come in, and they just keep mixing and matching these teams. So back to like the synergy reason is I know collective as an org, they just play with each other for months, years, whatever. And at the beginning of the season, um, I think the just having the ability that they've been playing together for a long time works wonders relative to win rate or anything like that. But if you look at the ranks of individual ranks, if you are going to go by that, like the individual ranks of the collective weren't bad either. I believe their average ranks for last season was higher than ISU. So
That is true. Yeah, they ended up most of them were average platinum. A couple of
I think it was like
ISU were gold.
P3 or P2. Yeah. So that's why I'm gonna also go with collective. I think they have the right now individually a higher ceiling that could change throughout the season, but I would like to see what happens in this top lane. I think the strongest point of ISU is bleed and feed. So you know, even though top lane is a very awkward lane right now with
Mhm.
Smite Janna top, which is probably gonna get heavily nerfed tomorrow
Thankfully.
because of the
Good.
support item changes.
Hmm.
Uh, it's it's in my mind that that could be the lane that changes I guess the game for ISU.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at the next matchup. It is TI Spectre up against Undying Tyrants. And it looks like it's split. Both our casters this evening have gone with Undying Tyrants. The community, Fury, and the Bully have gone with TA Spectre. So, Fury, we're gonna let you lead this one off.
So my vote is strictly because I know TA as an organization. Is pretty dedicated to the game. I just don't know the other team enough to really make a call based on that. If I'm going by a team that I do know and a team that I have yet to see, I'm always going to go with the team or at least the organization
Hmm.
behind that team and go with their vote. They do have Snow Life as a sub. Snow Life was great on my I guess what do you call it? The moderator tournament, whatever it
Like kickoff
was.
Hmm.
tournament.
Yeah, the kickoff
Oh no,
tournament
no,
that
the
we
Yep.
captain's
did.
draft. The
Captain's
captain's draft.
draft, that's what it
Yeah,
was. Yeah, Snow Life did
Hmm.
great on there. They should definitely throw Snow Life in for
I believe
start.
they
But
just
I don't know the
added it.
rest of them. Oh, did they?
Yeah, yeah, they did.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay.
So that's a good pickup for sure then. Big bucks from TA Spectre. But that's just my vote on that.
And Jason just said Snow Life is never
What
playing.
do you mean Snow Life is never playing? Put them in now. Put them in tonight.
They are the bench warmer.
Oh
So,
no.
but
Snow Life hard smurfed on Captain's draft.
I think he's a support main now, so that'd be meaning Tyrant
Interesting.
Rex X wouldn't be playing.
Hmm.
Uh, this is actually one of those games that are 50-50 for me. Um,
Okay.
so I don't know a lot about the TA Spectre team, but as Fury said, they have a lot of dedication to the org. Like the org wants these teams to succeed, and
Hmm.
just the org dynamic is what pushes some people to just pick TA every game because they have very winning um,
True.
teams.
Hmm.
One thing about Undying Tyrants is we've seen them just a little bit in the kickoff tournament. It was basically the same roster, and I know three of these players are actually on their university varsity team together. So
Okay.
they have that, built up. synergy with each other. But the biggest part is you see a couple of these players that play like having a GP1 trick as their mid laner, and you take that out and you see what they've done with the other champions they played with. Yes, they're decent, but the problem is it feels like not a lot of them affects the game very much. You have,
Mhm.
I guess, a decently low KDA, low win rate. The Victor pick might be taken out, but when you have someone that's super confident on one champion and that gets taken out and it gets banned, you're putting them on a less comfortable champion. And in terms of practice, when someone is practicing other mid laners or even other roles and they're supposed to be playing mid, then it can change the whole idea of the lane drastically. I would like to see that player barrel to practice made a little bit more instead of playing Jhin, which is they've been playing a lot. Uh, but right now, I would have to go with TA just for the fact that I think they've been hard practicing. They've been playing in another league while Undying Tyrants. Um, this is their only league, and they're split between their Seedle team and like this league.
Mhm. All right, fair enough. And something I want to touch on, you kind of mentioned, I got a bone to pick with all you mid laners out there. I want to see a deeper champion pool than Corky Victor, please.
Yo,
Because
Corky
please,
Victor, Corky Victor,
please,
Silas. Those are
It's
the top three,
please.
baby.
I mean the thing
They're
is
just
like
so good right now. I get
they're
it,
so
but
easy to blind pick. Like
yeah,
if
but please,
if you have the
give
handshake
me
one,
some depth in that.
if you
Yeah.
have the handshake, they handshake Corky and Victor because why? Because Corky's pretty solid into Victor.
Hmm.
They both have that idea of the late game,
Yeah,
just becoming late game monsters. And it's very hard to punish those two champions in the lane because
for sure. Yeah.
they're very strong laners. But yeah, we're gonna see
Corky
Victor a
Victor,
lot.
Silas, and
Yeah.
Vigar. Those
Yep.
those are the big four. The big four of this
Yeah.
league, I think, is what we always say.
We'll see how that works out. It is interesting to see the meta as it develops within, solo queue, and then you see within the individual leagues, and we'll see what it looks like in gold and platinum as it progresses. With that, though, let's talk about the next game. It is Titan Gaming Obsidian, my apologies, up against the UCF Lancers. And it looks like Raw, Eternal Cries, and Fury have all selected the UCF Lancers, while Titan Gaming Obsidian and the community have selected, or Bully and sorry, the community have selected TG Obsidian. Now, Fury, I'm gonna let you start because I know you're very excited to tell me why the UCF Lancers are going to win here.
Because I'm biased.
Okay.
That's why. Because I'm from Florida. And I don't know either team. Genuinely, I don't know how either of them play. I've only went off the rosters, but this pick is just off of my bias for UCF. That's all I can say about it.
Oh,
Right.
okay. So just a note, it looks like the roster sheet's incorrect for the TA Spectre. Uh,
Ooh.
so Fossil Dyna is actually support and Tyrant Rex X.
Hmm.
Rex X is the actual jungler.
Okay.
So
Okay,
just
that changes. That changes
yeah,
everything. I'm switching my vote.
yeah. No,
All
no,
right.
put in Snow Life. No, I was kidding.
Snow Life for Riot.
All right. Bully, you TG Obsidian here. Tell me why.
Ah, the thing is, it's so hard to pick. Is I just went off what I thought was the strongest roster at the time on paper.
Mhm.
So I just went with that, and the TG Obsidian just looked a lot better.
Yeah, it's
All right, fair
understandable.
enough. No, I mean that's understandable. Well, let's take a look now at the Hex Tech division, starting with our streamed game of the evening on BOL1. It is Absolute Esports taking on CB Ruby. Oh, also forgot to mention on stream 2, you will be seeing TG Obsidian up against UCF Lancers as well.
Nice.
So, come on, back-to-back streamed games here. And for Absolute up against CB Ruby, the casters, Raw and Eternal Cries, have both selected Absolute Esports. Meanwhile, Fury, the Bully, and the community vote have gone with CB Ruby. So, Bully, go ahead and lead us off here.
Well, when I picked, uh, so right now it doesn't look like Blade God's gonna be playing. He's
Hmm.
way too far away from the game count. So it looks like Blue Shift might be playing, and I'm gonna guess Blue Shift is gonna be the jungler today, and Kuma's gonna be playing mid. That's
Okay.
my guess.
more than
But if you
likely.
look at the roster, that's a strong roster. When you
Yeah.
have people that ended high platinum last season, their cap exception is Noah Talk, and like the average on the roster was insane. It was one of the top three uh, teams based on last year's rank. But Absolute Esports definitely could, uh, I guess, make CP Ruby, give CP Ruby a hard time, and that's why it is our stream game because I think that it could go the distance in 3 games.
Hmm.
But right now, I have to put my bets on CP Ruby.
All right. Fair enough. Fury, you also selected CV Ruby. Tell me why.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, I was originally gonna go with Absolute, but then I
Mhm.
was like, it's just gonna be stupid to vote against CB. Just seeing what they've done in this league, it wouldn't make sense to vote against them. Um, we've seen them every year, I think, as an org at the very least, if not winning the series as CB Rush has. So just based off of that, like knowing the track record of CB as a whole, I have to go with Ruby.
All right. Fair enough. Next matchup we are going to talk about it is CB Rush taking on Dragonclaw Cloud. And this is everyone has selected CB Rush. Raw, Total Cries, Fury, Bully, and the community have all selected CB Rush. Fury, what's your take on this?
Returning champs, like
Yeah.
you, this is one of those games where sorry for Dragon Claw Cloud, but it's like if you win, it's going to be an upset.
Hmm.
Um, it's going to be a big game, especially if they win it week one. Like that's huge for them. It will put them
Yeah.
into the top of the standings instantly, just based off of who they beat, not necessarily that they won. Um, but this could be a very tall order for them to try to win. You got Rutledge, you have Pizza on Rush coming back here. I don't know if there's been name changes on CB Rush with Hayden, Scratch, and Kanori, but I can only imagine they are just as good as the last team if they are not the same people.
Yeah. There's pretty much been one consistency throughout the Platinum League, and Rutledge does not put together losing teams, is what we've
No.
learned. Bully, go ahead and give your take on this matchup.
I think uh, it's hard for us to go against CB Rush because we've seen them
Hmm.
putting together winning rosters for years. Uh, and I think a big thing is I think I heard from us from the grapevine that Rutledge won't be playing this week.
Mm,
Ooh.
okay.
So could that affect things? Yes, but I think the roster in general is still going to be extremely strong, especially with the subs that they do have. I'm gonna guess King Yeetloaf is going to be playing today. Um, Not sure, but that would 100% be my guess. Dragon Claw Cloud, they're very known org. I would like to see them put up a strong performance against CB Rush, and if they can beat them, that'll turn the tides off this whole group because we thought this was
Mhm.
going to be a group of death, and a good showing from Dragon Claw Cloud could throw things into mayhem in this group.
Yeah, fair enough. And up next, another team that a lot of people feel are going to go pretty deep this season. It is GSG Sigma taking on Glacial Carnage. Now, Raw, Eternal Cries, and Fury have selected Glacial Carnage, while the community and the bully have gone with GSG Sigma. Fury, you went with Glacial Carnage. Give me the details as to why.
So my big thing, I mean, we all know GSG as an org, but looking at that roster, it's so different than what it was
Hmm.
in the past. Glacial Carnage is a very another just well-known, really good org. They've got a lot of backing from their owner, just a lot of support in general. So I imagine those uh, players are getting a lot of coaching, just a lot of time in together. Sigma, I don't know how recent they got together because obviously I haven't really been with that org for a while. But I only see one person on that roster
Hmm.
that's familiar, and that's Gaskia.
Fair enough. Bully, you went with GSG. Tell me why.
So I think that's one of the big things is that Glacial Carnage didn't have a mid laner. on the roster,
Yeah, that,
and
that was
they
a hard
Mhm.
are
one.
they are e-subbing Rindo in, so I guess the roster will change slightly. Rindo would be playing top, and I guess Yankee Dom. I think that's how you say it. It's gonna be playing mid.
Mhm.
Uh, I had a lot of questions about this game because it looks like Sigma is not going to be with the top lane of this series, or Bean Credit will be filling in.
Mhm.
But just the fact that Glacial didn't have a mid laner until today,
Yeah.
and Sigma has been putting this group together for months, just giving more confidence in Sigma winning this series.
Right. Fair enough. And we have one more game before we throw it to a quick break. It is Revolution Ice Age taking on Titan Gaming Violet. Rob, the only person to select Revolution Ice Age here, while Eternal Cries, Fury, the Bully, and the community have all selected Titan Gaming Violet. So we're gonna let Fury. They're gonna start this one off for us. Why did you go with TG Violet here?
That's actually a really good question. I just need to look back at that and
Yeah,
see
Hey.
why I did. I need to go back into my notes here. Give me 2 seconds. If Bully wants to give his thing real
Yeah,
quick,
go
I
ahead,
will look
Bully. I
back
guess
into
you could
my
start.
mine.
We're going out of order now.
Yeah, I'm doing it to you because I need to look at why
He
I
needed to
chose
phone a
TG.
friend.
I need to pull up my notes real quick.
All right, so the history of Revolution and BOL hasn't been looking too hot. All right, in
Yeah.
the last couple
That's all right.
seasons, they haven't been winning. And as much as I love like Shanghai and Squad, I think the average rank of that team is pretty low, and I think it was the last in this whole league.
Mhm.
And this is a game where it's two teams that have a lot to prove, and this is a good start, like a good starting game for them because they're both reasonably at the like lower end of the average ranks, and
Mhm.
they could start off the season strong and not get absolutely destroyed by a top team if that's even possible. I mean, of course they could win, but um, I think this is a good starting game. This is to make a confidence booster of how you go into the season, and playing a hard fought game is where should turn the dynamic of your whole team to try to get better and improve throughout the season. But I would have to go with the Titan Gaming Violet roster because I think they're slightly stronger. Um, and unfortunately, Revolution has had a curse in BOL for quite some times.
Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough. Fury, you also went with TG Violet here.
Yeah, so the reason behind mine is because of the overall rankings. From last year, I did see that
Mhm.
Revolution had kind of ended on the lower end um, of the plat spectrum, like kind of just higher gold versus what we had on TG. Also, I think we see a lot of good in TG in the mid lane. They have high octane assassins, which is not something you see all the time, especially with the conversation we had earlier about Victor and Silas and Corky. We're seeing things like Ari, Echo, Diana being played
Mhm.
on TG, and I just think that I've been pushing for like every team that I coach to play Assassins mid lane because nobody knows how to play into Assassins in this league. Everybody plays far back, wanting to farm for 30 minutes of a game. If
Mhm.
you play an assassin against that and just actually hard stomp your lane and then go into other lanes and win those for you, like the game's over. Uh, in that kind of situation, the whole game can be played through mid.
Alright, fair enough. All right, well, that does conclude predictions for our two divisions, Infernal and Hextech, for week one of the Platinum League this evening. Before we throw it over to a quick break, Fury Bully, this is week one. We see some returning faces, but I think this is one of the seasons where we've seen, I think, the most people coming into the league that we haven't seen in our league before. So,
Yeah.
any advice to give to some of our newer players?
Pay attention. Just pay attention to the games. Do your research. Maybe look into old VODs or just the old rosters and see which teams are consistent and consistently good. And never underestimate a team. Like this goes for every team though. Like not
Hmm.
even just the ones that are here, but don't underestimate a team just because you don't know who they are or you've never played against them before and you think they're some kind of no-name team. More than likely, that's going to be the team that's going to kill you, and
We
they're
had a
gonna just
team
run
like
over
that
you.
last season where they went and think they're gonna win the league because they won a points league where the average was P4, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then they had to drop out because their team got walloped.
Oh.
So
Yeah, you gotta look out for that.
All right. Well, with that, best of luck everyone in week 1. We're going to throw it to a quick break, and we'll be back in 30 minutes for Absolute Esports taking on CB Ruby. But fear not, friends. Head over to BOL2. We'll link it in announcements in just a few seconds here. And you can check all the action on Titan Gaming Obsidian up against the UCF Lancers. We'll be right back.
Going through different phases, feeling